Hey guys, it's Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk programming anatomy. So I know a lot of you guys at YouTube maybe can't afford online coaching or can't afford any professional coaching, but I want to give you guys some key ideas that you might want to take with you in order to not only select a coach, but if you're trying to design your own workouts, this is a big skeleton of work that you probably need to be keeping in mind when if you're trying to design something. This is going to be, in my opinion, the three major key areas to not only decide how you're going to program, but also decipher if somebody's feeding you bullshit and giving you a program you probably shouldn't be doing. So let's get to it.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a f, that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a f, I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share.
I think for most of us, functional hypertrophy is probably our main goal. Yeah, you're going to run into guys that want to bench 500, 600 pounds and want to squat 700, 800 pounds. That's not super common, but it is goals for some people. But I think for a lot of us, we have this functional hypertrophy. We want to be more athletic. We need more muscle, especially in today's age where kids really don't play a whole lot. In every sport, as you can see, most of the dominant people playing, let's just look at Tiger Woods in golf. In my opinion, he was the first guy to bring kind of weight training into golfing, right? And why did he kick everybody's ass? He was just more athletic than the rest of the golfers, in my personal opinion. Now, the other big factors is, let's look at tennis. Serena Williams and all them, look at them. They look like they have a ton of muscle. I actually was fortunate enough to be an intern when Serena was training at IPI and watched her lift weights. So I would say they were one of the first generations to really start lifting weights to play tennis in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I could be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. Now, the big thing is with functional hypertrophy, guys, is that no matter what your goals are, even if it's just aesthetics, you still need to have posture and muscle balance in mind. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means that our training needs to focus on three major areas in order for us to make the proper decision on not only which muscles to train, but which muscle groups keep us in the game. The first thing we need to focus on is shoulders. Now, shoulders is not what you think. It's not this beach body shit where you're doing a ton of front raises and Arnold presses and things that are probably going to make your shoulder look better, but by the time you're 35, you're not going to be able to wipe your own ass. That is not the type of shoulder training we're talking about. We're talking about a deeper level of shoulder training. We're talking about the posterior side, and we're talking about the rotator cuff. So we need a lot of rear delts, we need a lot of scapular muscles, and we need a lot of rotator cuff training. Now, there's a handful of exercises that I feel need to be in nearly every program, no matter what your sporting event or goal is. One, the face pull. We need to do a lot of face pulls. I think that this exercise, when introduced to me as a teenager, not only saved my shoulders, but made me have world-class bench pressing, and I don't pay for any of it now at 43 years old. Supermans. It's another very simplistic exercise that almost looks like more of a physical therapy type movement, but it is a definite need in today's population that's based on sitting at computers and sitting at desks, okay? The next one is a Cuban press. A Cuban press is a long forgotten exercise that I put on Instagram every once in a great while, but we do more of them than we show. And I find that the Cuban press is a great exercise to maintaining shoulder health, posture, and also helping the neck not become a major issue. The next thing is hanging plate, band, or chain. So what does this mean? This means that doing chaotic pressing should be in your repertoire. So if you're hanging plates or you're hanging kettlebells with chains or bands, this is going to make the pressing exercise more chaotic and allow the small muscles to develop at the similar rate as the large muscles. So if you think going in and doing light locked-in machines and Smith machines and things of that nature, they're not going to keep you around very long, okay? So you need to be careful with that and make sure chaotic pressing is definitely loaded into that. The next big thing is the lower back. If you're not focusing on lower back training and conditioning in your training, you're going to have a big problem. Don't think that squatting and deadlifting alone are going to fix these areas, because they will not. The other big thing that you need to understand is the deadlifts and power cleans, snatches, squatting are all compressive. So when you're training the lower back, you need to have a traction-based emphasis in your training. What does this mean? banded reverse hyper. So we get a lot of people saying, hey, I don't have access to reverse hyper. What do I do? Here's your exercise right here. The banded reverse hyper from the top of a rack is a way to hit the reverse hyper without having a reverse hyper. Is it as effective? The answer, in my opinion, is no. But we're not talking about effectiveness, because if you guys were worried about ultra effectiveness, you wouldn't ask me about how to manipulate different equipment. You just have the equipment. But I totally understand. Most people don't have the budget to have the right stuff. So sometimes you just got to make do with what you have. So if you want a reverse hyper for 15 bucks, here's how you do it. The next one is an alternate dumbbell toe touch. Now this may not have non-compressive factors to it, but it has a cross-body type activation to it, which is activating the TVA, which in my opinion is one of the most important core muscles, learning to lock the rib cage to the hip. You need to have alternate toe touches in your repertoire, whether you're a deadlifter, football player, it doesn't matter. The next one that is one of my favorites is a cable or a band pull through. The pull through not only develops the hamstring, glute, lower back, but it also creates some flexibility in that particular area, which is super important because most people are very tight there. So doing an ample amount of pull throughs in your workouts will help this area not only get stronger, thicker, and more powerful, but it also has some restoration properties as well. The next one is a Roman chair or a 45-degree back extension. This is a great way to do a deadlift without deadlifting. Why is this important? Well, for many of us, we have leg length discrepancies, we may have pelvis injuries or fractures, we might have been involved in a car accident where our back gets pissed off, like mine, to deadlift constantly. This is a way to use a deadlift pattern without putting vertical spinal compression on. The next big exercise or exercise area that I think needs to be focused on, or an anatomical area, is the knee. And this is hard because the knee has been, in my opinion, overused, especially currently with what people are saying you should be doing for restoration and rehab in the knee. In my personal opinion, you need to master vertical shank squatting, deadlifting, and movements in jumping and sprinting before you utilize a knee over toe type activity. And even then, I'm not so sure that it's that healthy. More to come on that particular topic. But you need to have the hamstring insanely strong for knee health. This is where banded hamstring curls play a huge role. You don't need a real machine to do it. Seated calves with 5-5 tempos are huge. There has been some research, although very old, that shows the soleus, its strength, conditioning, and mobility is very, very important for knee health, especially on the posterior side for the PCL, which the ACL tends to take most of the brunt and most of our attention because we hear about ACL ruptures. But the PCL is just as important. The next exercise is more on the prehab movement or rehab physical therapy side, which is a VMO raise. I like to do these at least once a week for 3 sets of 30 seconds to help with knee tracking. For a lot of us that have knee pain, a lot of times it's because the patella is not tracking correctly at the knee joint. The VMO raise will actually help to alleviate this in both acute pain and chronic issues. And you find that a lot of people that have knee issues, you look at their VMO and it's complete garbage or it's completely missing. Ironically, the VMO is a huge player in knee health. The last thing I think that is important is alternate leg raises, like a crunch with leg raises. Now, why is this important? For a lot of us, hip flexors are insanely weak. Now, we would think hip flexors, well, doesn't that tie into the hip? Well, it also ties into the knee. And weak hip flexors can also cause a lot of knee issues as well as hip issues. So I hope this helps you guys out a little bit. If you guys don't have these exercises in your programming every week, or at least at some capacity, you're probably not only limiting your growth potential, you're also limiting the time in which you're going to be able to use weights as a recreational or professional endeavor. So if you guys need more help, come on to online coaching. Come check out wenningstrength.com. Look at our products and our equipment, and let us help you be the best you can be. Talk to you later.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss.